Jarvis, drop my needle.
Hello, this is the hardcore legend Mick Foley, and if you are interested in listening to idiots, you came to the right place. Have a nice day.
Woo! That's an attention getter.
He's a very strange young man.
He's an idiot. What we're dealing with here is a complete lack of respect for the law.
Oh my God, he's an idiot.
You know, of course, that you're out of your jurisdiction.
Personally, I think you're an idiot.
But that's the evidence in the car.
But I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Always like to keep my audience riveted.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, friends and fiends, and welcome to Free Range Idiocy, the podcast about everything, but mostly just the stuff we like. In case you've been living under a rock, trapped underneath a grand piano, or perhaps living in a grand piano box that's been trapped underneath a rock, you know that Marvel's newest group of superheroes arrives in theaters on November 5th. And what with none other than the Marvel godfather himself, Kevin Feige, promising that this flick will do nothing short of redefine the MCU, there's a whole lot at stake with this one. What will happen? Who will it happen to? Will the real Mephisto please make like Slim Shady and please stand up or raise a hand? Hell, just blink already! So in this episode 80, we're going to break down some of the cockamamie theories that the interwebs have cooked up and make like the Iron Sheik to let you know whether they're the real or the jabroni. My name is Todd, and with me, as always, is the man who may or may not be an Eternal in hiding, but he's just too damn polite to let everyone know that this has all happened before, and it'll happen again. He has been my partner in idiocy for over 2 decades and counting. I give you the man they call Tim.
Greetings and salutations, my friend. How are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty well this week, sir. How about you?
I'm well. Doing well.
Are you ready
Feeling
to break
good.
down some Eternals cockamamie fan theories?
I'm ready to litigate. I'm ready to adjudicate.
No. Stop with the Nipsey Russell routine. It's too damn early in the show for that. I know you had a little nip of a Uncle Nearest before this show started, but don't get things carried away here.
I have commiserated with Uncle Nearest.
What do you got to commiserate about? Your fantasy football team is sailing high. You got Eternals coming out. You just saw Dune. I mean, you've got life is good for you. What do you got to cry about? Like, what? You don't even have first world problems right now.
No, not really. No.
Okay.
I have to agree with you on that one. So.
All right. Well, that all being said, since we've already kind of, let me see here, a little foreshadowing. What's going on with The Week in Geek?
The Week in Geek.
Feels so funky.
Ah, my friend. Much is going on in the world of geekdom. To start with,
good.
As is our custom throughout this fall season. It is time to reflect on week 8 of the 2021 campaign of this fantasy football. This week saw Uncle Todd with some good news.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Something
I actually won this week.
Something to celebrate.
I'm so used to getting my tail kicked in that I actually forgot that I had something. I was all ready to brace for another kick into the gonads here, but I did. I managed to win.
You did.
What happened?
And I sent you today a meme of Barry Horowitz of wrestling fame to just commemorate it with the old hand on the back routine. So,
which, you know what, I will say I did earn that because let me tell you, I was supposed to lose this one. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is, I had 2 players. First of all, me and Julio Jones. He's right up there with who's the other guy? Dalvin Cook. At least Dalvin came through for me this week. Well, kinda. He still was like 15 points off his average. But anyways, Julio Jones has been jerking me around for weeks now. And then I had another guy out. Plus, what was it? Devonta, what's his face?
Adams?
Yes, him. He's out with COVID-19. So, I mean, it was just one thing after another. So I had to pick up like 2 wide receivers. And then, you know, I'm looking at this whole thing. And of course, Khalil Herbert, who I should have known to start. I should have known. No, he goes for 32 points. Dalvin Cook gets a measly 25.
Oh.
And then, because I was like, you know what? I'm tired of riding the Ryan Tannehill roller coaster.
Express.
I'm gonna start Daniel Jones. Let me frickin' tell you, that's another roller coaster. Because then Tannehill went off, and he did better than Jones, but somehow my opponent managed to crap the bed, even though he had Josh Allen starting. got 65 points. He had like 4 guys that went off, and everybody else sucked. That's the only way I managed to take this home. So I'm happy. And now next week I get to go against the Cellar Dwellers, who you just played. So of course you won.
That's right. We will lead with your victory and circle around to my somewhat hollow victory over.
So
18.
I have a chance of putting a win streak of 2 together.
There we go. And you're going to creep a little bit closer to 500, my friend. You're 3-5. Next week you'll be 4-5.
Now, the one thing I want to point out to you, because now, of course, you beat the Cellar Dwellers 190-33. How they got 33, I have no idea.
Do you know where they got most of their 33 points from? I'm looking at it right now. Nick
kicker?
Folk, the kicker.
Yeah.
Nick Folk.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. Why not?
What's going on?
Why not?
Oh.
So if any of you are out there who are actually still listening, but if you're in Yahoo Fantasy Footballs, in the standings they have current standings as a default. But if you go to current projections, have you tried this?
Oh no, I have not.
I am actually projected to come out 8-6. You're projected to go 7-7. Yahoo has you losing the rest of the year and coming out 500.
Projections. Let me see. Ah, interesting.
Is that some crazy stuff or what?
It is. It really is. Well, I think it has to do with the Derrick Henry news.
Oh, that's right.
Which really isn't news for me because I have plenty of running back backups. I'm good to go.
Oh, shut up.
You know, I
the rich get richer.
I have plans. I have redundancy checks. I have... You know, I run a well-oiled machine. I'm not 7-1 for nothing, baby. So Yahoo projections, while I enjoy the service and I appreciate the ability to play fantasy football through that service, I'm not going to pay attention to those projections and just continue to go on my winning ways.
You know, I was enjoying this segment until just now. And now I'm mad again.
Now the mood has gone dim.
Now I know why Mo was always so mad. That's all right. What else we got going on? With enough of our fake football teams.
Oh my God! Well, congrats to you, sir, and it'll be interesting with me. Derrick Henry is, for all intents and purposes, out for the remainder of fantasy. He's 6 to 10 weeks with a foot surgery, apparently. So it'll be interesting to see how the remainder of the season shakes out. But yes, we shall see.
Yes,
next item.
As far as Derrick Henry goes, I wish the real Derrick Henry quite well. However, for the fantasy football Derrick Henry, I say.
And on that note, Dune 2 is going to be a thing, believe it or not. So for those who have seen Dune, the movie, which came out a couple of weeks back, this article is based around, I think it's October 26th or when these numbers came out. So we're about a week behind. But Warner Brothers has announced that there will be a Dune Part 2. The sequel will end up getting released apparently October 20th of 2023. So in 2 years. But the Dune Part 1 notched an estimated 40.1 at the North American box office, 40.1 million, exceeding expectations of 30 million. It was the biggest opening for Warner Brothers this year, which I have to kind of laugh because they kind of put all their eggs in the DC basket and paid the price for that. So now they apparently have come out ahead a little bit by having Dune be as successful as it is.
How many Warner Brothers movies have been released, though? Because ever since they basically said, hey, everything is on HBO Max, depending on what has been released, this might just be the first movie that's actually worth going to see on a big screen.
Yes. And that's something that the article from CNN notes, is that this was considered a strong opening, even more impressive considering what you just said. The film is streaming on HBO Max. I think it's the kind of film, like you said, that I think carries with it the gravitas of, I want to see this in the theater. I saw it in the theater with my family over the weekend. Audio-wise, amazing. Absolutely amazing. Picture-wise, it's going to be hit or miss depending on your theater. At mine, unfortunately, the darker scenes were really difficult to kind of see clearly. There was a bit of a house lighting issue. I think they left the house lights on a bit brighter than they should have. But I started watching on HBO Max on Sunday, and those scenes were much clearer. So it's kind of a mixed bag, but I would definitely recommend going to the theater regardless, because it was, between the music and the sound effects and just, it was just a great experience to see it on the big screen with a quality sound system. So Dune Part 1 shaping up to be a strong outing, and thankfully, because of that, we will get Part 2 in 2 years' time.
Yeah, it looks to me like the first, because I mean they've had some big movies. Warner Brothers has had some big movies. They had Godzilla, Kong, Mortal Kombat, but both of those were really before the summer. Stuff was really still not open. And then you get into In the Heights was June 18th was when it was released. I mean, so now you really start getting it. Space Jam. I mean, oof. Then you get into like the Suicide Squad is really kind of that, to me, that first movie where it's a kind of a blockbuster popcorn movie. People are going to go see it. Even in August 6th, though, we were still kind of at a point where theaters were just kind of really getting to roll. And now it feels like we're more at a point where people are kind of getting more back into that rhythm. So yeah, this is really kind of the first opportunity that I think people are really going to want to go see a movie of this size.
Yeah, agreed.
Interesting.
Agreed. And finally, the big kahuna.
Oh boy.
We were pleasantly surprised yesterday.
Yes,
with a trailer dropping that I don't know if it was announced or not. I was not aware of this. My younger son texted me this and said, check this out. And it turned out to be a trailer for the Book of Boba Fett. Book of Boba Fett.
Oh, so good. You know what this was like? This is like when you put on your winter coat and then you find like a $20 bill in the pocket that you forgot about. Because, I mean, I knew that Book of Boba Fett was coming. I mean, it's hard not to kind of keep track of these things doing this show and talking about as much geek stuff as we do. But I kind of forgot about the idea of like, oh, and there's going to be a trailer at some point before. I mean, even though everybody in the world is waiting for this, they're going to try and whet your appetite somehow. I completely forgot, like, oh, there's going to be a trailer for this coming. And you sent this to me and I'm like, looky what I found in the pocket.
Indeed.
I'm going to sizzle. I'm going to sizzle.
I don't know that I was saying that when I saw it, but
I'll take foods that rhyme with Q, Alex.
That's right.
Start with Q.
That's right. So I thought we would just chat for a couple minutes here on thoughts on the trailer because as the tagline says, every galaxy has its underworld. And my goodness, did we get a little bit of a peek into what that's going to look like.
Yeah, it's kind of incredible that it really has taken this long to get here. But then again, as we talked about before, Star Wars is so far behind the curve on actually fleshing out their universe and like doing anything with characters that don't, have the last name Solo or Skywalker. I mean, I guess Kenobi, but even that, it's taken so long. So even though that has been there from the very beginning, I mean, the idea, I think Jabba is mentioned in the very first Star Wars movie in New Hope. And you know that Han's a smuggler. So okay, there's gangsters, there's smugglers, there's this sort of stuff. And then we get bounty hunters in Empire. And it's always been there. But it's never been a focus because, well, none of the smugglers were, none of the bounty hunters were named Skywalker. So screw them.
Yes.
And now we finally start getting into this. And oh boy, does this look like a whole lot of fun. It's like a mashup of like Sopranos, Godfather, Kill Bill, Desperado. Like just give it all. Give it all to me and shove it into my eyeballs, please. Just now.
Can I get a peek?
Oh, a little. No, I got to have more than just a I want all of it.
Oh, yeah.
This looks flippin' phenomenal. And all that and mixed with almost kind of the grandeur of like an over-the-top sort of kung fu movie as well. Like there's a little bit of that thrown in there, like just some of how grandiose it is. Oh, it looks gorgeous. What do you think, sir?
As we talked in the pre-production meeting, this brings together two itches that I've needed scratched in the Star Wars realm, which is one, having a focus on the Boba Fett character. So there's one. And the second one is, exploring that underworld or what you just described, kind of diving into an area of the galaxy of this universe that Lucas has created that hasn't really been explored very much. It's been hinted at or it's been referenced in some ways. If for those who remember seeing Solo, the big reveal at the end was Darth Maul was the head of this big crime syndicate. But, it's always been just on the periphery. We've never really dove into this. And so it was really exciting for me to see that it's going to really kind of get into that end of the Star Wars galaxy, and absolutely love, like I wrote a note down here as I was watching it. I love how respect and cooperation are being preached by the man with a big gun and a gaff stick.
Yes. Well, I mean, it makes sense. Doesn't it?
It does. I mean,
what else is going to make you cooperate quicker?
Absolutely.
The dude who can either bludgeon you to death or shoot you, depending on his mood. I don't know. That would seem to increase cooperation to me.
Yep. So, very excited. Thought it was interesting. A couple interesting things I noticed, watching it a couple times. Boba is, he's not all pasty white anymore. I think he's got his color back. When we saw him in Mandalorian, he looked a little worse for wear, given what we suspect was his experience somehow surviving the Sarlacc pit.
Well, yeah, that'll take a little bit out of you.
But I noticed in kind of one of the first few frames when you kind of see him, and I'm assuming this is in Jabba's palace, that there looks behind him to be some sort of like healing bed that has been kind of referenced in past movies and shows. So I'm wondering if when we pick it up, he will, there'll be some explanation around why he's looking a bit more healthy than he did when we saw him originally in The Mandalorian. Likes to take his helmet off.
Either that or maybe, Jabba had a backup sail barge and he's just been cruising around on that, catching some rays, just chilling, having a droid bring him a little cocktail with a little umbrella in it or something.
He and Fennec just cruising around, getting some sun.
Occasionally throwing a couple people into the Sarlacc pit. I mean, just good, clean fun. Really, that's what it is. Actually,
Absolutely.
That should be the follow up. And after Book of Boba Fett, we get Weekend at Boba Fett. That's what I want.
Oh, good Lord.
I want this thing to take a hard right at the end of it and just turn into a wacky slapstick comedy.
Oh, just leave it to Uncle Todd to take a good thing and then take it a step too far.
You know what? I mean, hey, we've already got Sing Along with Wong.
That's true. That is true.
Give me a wacky Star Wars comedy. Apparently we're not getting the Rangers of the New Republic, so there goes my clerks in space or chips in space.
In space. Oh, we got to bring back that theme music, baby.
Dude, I still say that is money in the bank. Just those X-Wing jockeys just flying around and just talking. And, like the equivalent of like coming across an accident with a bunch of like space chickens all across a planet or something. It'd be great. Because that was like every other episode, wasn't there? There was a crash and there was always a truck full of chickens scattered across the interstate.
Yep.
Good. Luckily, Ponch and John were there to help rectify the situation.
They were there to litigate. And
Don't. Just the charm is wearing off real quick. Just saying. Save it.
The listeners may enjoy it.
So I think Tim has said it best. Basically, Book of Boba Fett is that ointment for that itch that you've had, sort of like the salve that he had to get to recover from that rash he got on spring break that one year.
Oh, good Lord.
That didn't go away, made him walk real bow-legged for a while. But he's fine now.
Gosh.
As long as he stays on those meds, everything is fine.
Oh, my goodness. Yes. So, Book of Boba Fett. I am not going to address that at all.
Better than a scratching stick.
Oh, good God.
I don't know why they never come to you for a review, or to me. I mean, well, actually, no. I know why they don't come to me for reviews, but for you, I don't really understand why.
I know. Yeah. So if it already, you and I were already a big buy for this, but just this looks head and shoulders above, I think, anything we looked at in our last episode.
I don't know.
Still kind of cleaning off.
Hitmonkey is
from
kind of
one.
Up there. Peacemaker definitely is. This leaves Peacemaker in the dust for sure.
Indeed. All right, and that, my friends, is the Week in Geek.
Well, thank you very kindly for your interweb sleuthing and coming up with a bunch of stuff for us to talk about. But however, we do have some serious business to take care of here because we've got some theories to go through for the Eternals. Now, if all goes well, hang on a minute, let me knock on a little wood. We'll be posting this on Friday when this hits theaters. So you'll be able to listen to this on the way to your theater, and then you'll be able to let us know exactly how right and wrong we are, and then we'll have to come back and let everybody know. Of course, I still have yet to receive my winnings from the previous Real or Jabroni episode. However, I am not going to hold that.
Thursday.
Thursday. How many times have I heard that at different times?
I have the receipts.
I will trust you on it. I've been wait a minute.
Paperwork.
You said Friday, so it's on Thursday?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Sweet.
And the selected prize of choice by Uncle Todd was a bourbon, Chicago-based bourbon, Koval. A little bit of rye bourbon there, my friend.
Yeah, I was hoping for some Cavassier, but I decided to go with Koval instead.
Classy.
Yeah.
That you are.
Well, I mean, that just goes without saying.
So this is interesting. This is our third Real and Jabroni. You are 2-0. I am 0-2. So I am looking to redeem myself in some way, shape, or form.
You know what? Now I think about it, like, I don't care if I get my butt kicked in fantasy football as long as I can keep winning these, because it makes it really easy to keep the liquor cabinet stocked this way.
Yeah, I know. Do you still have the last winnings that I got for you?
Oh, hell no. That's long gone.
Oh, that's right. That was the double oaked, and I think you...
that was delightful.
Indeed.
That was gone. That was actually gone way too quick, honestly. I needed a bigger bottle for that one. That was, my goodness.
Well, as is our custom, we will walk through. How many of these do we have? We have about 28,
I believe.
28. Yeah, we roughly run between 25 and 30, just to give us a good spread here to see if one of us can get it really, really wrong or one of us can get it really, really right.
Usually it's really, really wrong.
It's kind of in the middle. I mean, I think the last two we were only a couple points apart in terms of we were kind of 50-50 almost. So.
Yeah, that's right. The last one, it came down to like a judgment call, and I had no idea, but I ended up having the one who had to litigate. Who had to
under protest,
adjudicate and elucidate and emaciate.
All you really did was bloviate,
masticate, something. Kate, I don't know, Blanchette, something.
I did not appreciate.
Oh, look at you! You're like this generation's Nipsey Russell with all your rhyming.
Thank you.
It's gonna be a huge. Nipsey Russell's gonna be trending on Twitter. Who the hell is Nipsey Russell?
So we will go through all of these. And so what Uncle Todd has done as the gracious organizer of this is to go through a voluminous amount of rumors spread throughout the interwebs. He has been hard at work earning that Koval, if he didn't already earn it from his win. And
I totally earned it from the win.
I know.
Come on.
And put together these fine rumors that we are now going to not going to adjudicate. That's next. That's the episode 2 or 3 from now. We will make our guesses. We will decide, is it the real? And again, our rating system is based on the highly unique and celebrated professional wrestling legend, the Iron Sheik, who
Bubba.
Oftentimes Bubba will talk about what is the real and what is the jabroni. So the real is a truism and the jabroni a falsism. So
former WWF champion. No, it's WWF champion. That's right. It takes me a while to get into that one because
my gosh.
He is a unique cat. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yes, he is.
Anyway.
All right. Are you ready, sir? Are you ready to put it all on the line here?
Oh, about as ready as I ever am, which means not very, but sure, let's do this thing.
Oh, and last point, we just have to make sure the listeners understand. What is on the line is the winner's choice of bourbon.
Yes, indeed.
So,
let's just put it as whiskey, because now
yes.
I know that if you win this one, I'm going to be buying a bottle of Uncle Nearest and sending it to Chicago.
That's right.
Be like, whiskey from Tennessee coming to Maine just to go to Chicago. It'd be a much shorter trip if you actually drove and got it.
Quick funny story. So when I went to the UPS store, I did not have packing tape at home, so I just figured they could tape up the box when I had all the other stuffing and everything, to keep it secure. So when I get there, I asked the guy, do you mind taping this up for me? He's like, yeah, no problem. And he's like, so what are you shipping? And of course, not think, I just, first thing came to my head. I'm like, oh, it's a bottle of bourbon. And so he looks at me and he's like, oh, you mean a gift? I'm like, yes, a gift.
You gotta love the helpful employees.
Oh my gosh, fantastic! I'm like,
let me help you make sure you don't need to pay extra or get some sort of service on this thing.
Exactly. If there was a tip jar, I would have dropped a 5 or a 10 in there for the help. So thank you very much. Anyways, all right, let's get going with this. The Eternals, the real and the Jabroni. Are you ready, sir? Are you strapped in, fired up, and ready to go?
Ding.
Here we go. Number 1, the Eternals did not intervene in any of the MCU action up to this point because they don't know they're Eternals, the real or the Jabroni. What say you, sir?
I'm going to go Jabroni on this one. They totally know who they are.
All right. I'm also going to play the role
and by the way,
this
as well as like the next, I don't know, like 10 or 11 are all from Slash Film. And I'll actually put some links to some of these because I managed to find some very kind of small group of links, so it won't be too much in the show notes. So if you want to go and read some more in depth on these, so the next bunch are all from Slash Film, and most of them have to do with why the Eternals didn't have anything to do with the MCU up to this point because ...
Yes. So for this first one, I will agree with you and say the Jabroni as well. I think the trailer does a nice job of kind of establishing the interplay between them all, and clearly they kind of know who they are. So I do not believe this to be the case. So I will agree with you.
Alrighty.
Next one. The Eternals did not intervene in any of the MCU action up to this point because they have been stripped of their powers.
No, I'm going with the Jabroni on this one.
Oh, jeez, boy, there's no drama with you at all.
Well, the thing is, if anything, I would say that there's a better chance that they might have given up their powers or have relinquished their powers or hidden their powers rather than have been stripped of their powers.
Okay, so you're hinging everything on the word "strip" because it indicates someone took it from them.
Yes, because I think at least from the narrative that we hear in the trailer, it sounds like it was a choice for them not to interfere.
Correct, and I would agree with you. I will go the Jabroni as well.
All righty.
All right, next one. Same beginning to it. Eternals didn't intervene in any MCU action because one of their own betrayed them, somehow incapacitating them.
I'm tempted on this one. I am tempted. However, I'm going to go the Jabroni on this one as well.
I don't know. Gosh.
I know you don't, and that's why. I'm feeling good about some of these, which just means I'm going to crash and burn so brilliantly. It's going to be amazing to watch.
One of their own betrayed them.
I'm going to be sitting in the theater watching this, cussing at the screen. No!
I mean, isn't that not what we did during... Actually, I'm sorry. This is the This is the fourth one we've done. Because didn't we do one for WandaVision?
The first one? Huh? I think we did, but I don't think we had any stakes on it.
No, I think you're right. I think we just did a test run, if you will, with WandaVision. And then
I think I still won that one.
No, I don't think you did. I don't think you did.
You've buried the results out in the backyard.
I have.
Fine.
I have.
Whatever.
All
Whatever
right.
makes you feel better. I got the 2 bottles so far. That's the important one.
Yeah, well. Yeah. Anyways, let's see.
What say you?
One of their
Were
own
they betrayed and incapacitating them? What do you say?
I gotta say the Jabroni. It just doesn't feel like anyone's betrayed anyone. They seem like they're a cohesive group.
You know, I'm going to have you start going first if you're just going to keep copying me to keep this.
No, I'm not
this is your strategy.
You.
You're just copying me to keep this close.
I'm reasoning this out, and
you're reasoning. Oh my god, you're reasonating. That's what you're doing.
I'm
a reasonating and I'm contemplating.
I'm doing
and then I'm answerating, and then I'm computating,
and then I'm commiserating, and then I'm computating,
and then I'm being annoyating.
Oh, good lord. All right, next one. Same base. The Eternals did not intervene because the movie takes place somewhere else in the multiverse other than Earth 616. What say you, sir?
Earth 616, for those of you who don't know, is basically the main Earth in the MCU. So it would have been everything that's happened has happened Earth 616. This one is actually, it's somewhat tempting at first until I realized that it's just getting a little too cute. It's one of those theories that you're like, oh, that'd be awesome, but it ain't gonna happen because we've talked about this before. Marvel does not go for a lot of these fancy little things that fans are like, oh, this would be so awesome if they just did it. Blah, 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 blah. They don't do that. Why? Because at the end of the day, it amuses a couple of fanboys and fangirls, but it's not the real thing that most people want to see. So yeah, I'm going with Jabroni on this one. Even though as much as I would like to say, oh, this would be totally cool if it was and this is kind of another way to the multiverse is seeping in, I don't think that's the case.
No. Yeah, I believe Marvel is very anti-shenanigan. So, I don't see this.
Shenanigans.
That's right.
That is one of my favorite things ever is just that moment in Super Troopers. I'm going to pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans. Hey, Farva. And you just know where it's going. I've got to rewatch that movie. I miss that so much.
Oh, that is funny.
Next.
All right, next one. Eternals didn't intervene in any of the MCU action up to this point because Kang prevented them from tampering with the sacred timeline.
Well, that's got to be Kang.
Thank you, JR.
That was Vince, remember?
Oh,
that was back when Vince was still on.
I thought that was
commentary.
JR. Oh,
no. I think it was Vince and JR at the time.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, because that was before we got Mr. McMahon.
Very nice. You remembered.
Or as Gerald Briscoe would say, Mr. McMahon, WWE's Forrest Gump. That would have actually, now that I think about it, that would have been great if they just had one time where Gerald Briscoe, everywhere I went, I was running. That would have been just, and then Pat next to him, hey, why don't you go and run off there? You go banana. Anyway.
I think part of the show will be Uncle Todd doing his impersonations of side characters from WWE.
Dusty Rhodes. Yeah, baby, you run all over the place. That'll be your gimmick. You'll be known as the king of the running in arenas. It'll be the great, because Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, tell you, is going to be terrific.
If you will.
Yes. And then I slip right into the ladies' man, because it's a short trip from Dusty Rhodes
it is.
to Leon Phelps.
It really is.
All right. Actually, never mind. There's so many ways to go with that, and all of them inappropriate and foolish, and nobody cares.
Kang prevented them from tampering with the sacred timeline.
This is another one that feels too cute. It's one of those ones that appeals to me because there is a healthy portion of me that is a fanboy and that would love to see some sort of coolish kind of shenanigans here. But no, they're not gonna bring Kang in that directly here.
All right.
So no, I don't think so.
So the first 5 so far, just for the record, ladies and gentlemen, we are exactly the same.
Yep.
And honestly, if you're playing the averages here, most of these, I think the last 2 we've done, I don't think it's been a high percentage that have been true. So It is a percentages game that we are playing. All right. So we got 5 knocked out.
Yes.
23 to go. All right. Eternals did not intervene because who knows? But it'll have something to do with mutants.
See, here's the one that is very tempting because something to do with mutants, and I'm using my air quotes right now for those of you scoring at home. That's a very wide definition. That could, I mean, you could really interpret that in so many ways. So that basically you could almost say any mutants that have anything to do with relative to the Eternals, this could be the real.
Well, and it also plays into, we don't have full context of what the emergence, which they talk about, is going to be. And if you're going to find an inflection point or define an inflection point for establishing mutants in the MCU, it could take a galactic event like that, which it seems to be, to cause that.
And then that would be, when it inflectates.
I saw what you did there.
Yeah, I know you did. You know what? I'm going to go with the real on this one.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we have our first the real.
This feels like this is sort of like one of those football bets where it's like, oh, this team is gonna win by 3 touchdowns, and you're like, no, they're not. Even if they do, it'll probably be by 18 or something. It just seems like a very safe sort of a lot of safety margin on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and you're going to actually disagree. So I'm actually reading in the Google Docs. I don't mean to tip this off, but
you spoiled my pick, man.
Yeah, well, me.
I'm going to go.
Who was the guy for ESPN who used to do that when they would feed the picks into his ears and then he would start talking about that to look smarter during the NFL draft? It wasn't Kuiper, was it?
It might have been. I don't remember.
Complete D-bag way to go. I mean, so cheesy.
Yes.
But
yeah.
anyways, so what? So you're going with Jabroni now. What's your reasoning here?
Because I don't know that. I'm not convinced this is like after. Even though I said what I said, I am not convinced this is going to lead to a mutant sort of thing.
Fair enough.
I think the mutants will most likely get established in the multiverse, as we'll probably see a bunch of different things start to enter into the MCU because of the multiverse. But that's my reasoning. So technically, I kind of talked you into it, and knowing that I was going to say the Jabroni.
So is this sort of like when Arnold Schwarzenegger managed to like fool Stallone into taking the part and Stop or My Mom Will Shoot?
Kind of.
Yeah. Okay.
Kind of.
Fair enough.
Just letting you know. All right.
I've always wanted to play the Stallone to your Schwarzenegger. That's always been a dream of mine. So if I can make this happen for you, so be it.
It's not a tumor. All right. The Eternals didn't
Get
intervene.
to the chopper. Get down.
Get down.
Get down. I love this story. So we used to have this really dumb dog. Purebred, stupid hound. He was just not a bright dog. He was lovable as all get out. Loved him dearly, but my God, there was just nothing in this dog's head except how do I get food? But he just wouldn't listen. My wife heard at some point, like, if you lower your voice, then a dog will listen to you. And of course, I would always give her a hard time. Like, you're like the dog whisperer. He listens to you so well, because she would be yelling at the dog and the dog would just be like, not even paying attention to her. Like, she was not even in the room. He was thinking about other things.
All right.
And so she would yell, get down, but she'd be trying to lower her voice. And this vague Austrian accent, I swear to God, it started sounding like I was next to Arnold Schwarzenegger, and she'd be like trying to lower it down, and I'd be echoing her. I'd be like, get down, Oscar, get down, get to the chopper. You know, and she's like, stop it. I'm trying to be serious. I'm like, he's not listening to either one of us. It's not really affecting the situation. He ain't getting off the bed. Just, live with it. This is our lives now.
Hysterical.
We have a queen size bed and an 80-pound hound that doesn't listen to either one of us, sleeping in the middle of it. And he's farting up a storm. This is our life. This is our life. Anyways, welcome back from that tangent.
Good Lord. All right. Moving. Well, thank you for sharing. That was funny, though.
You would have thought I was the one having bourbon before this show. Anyways.
Oh gosh. The Eternals didn't intervene because they have been interfering, albeit very subtly.
Be very, very quiet. I'm interfering in the timeline. I am going to say Jabroni on this one. It's tempting because it feels like another one of those, like, you could really interpret this in a lot of different ways. But from a dramatic standpoint, it doesn't feel like this movie would be that big of a deal if they have been interfering.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It feels like much more of a bigger deal, a bigger build if they break that vow, if you will.
Right.
In the movie.
This one is more tempting, though, for me to say the real two than the mutant one.
Do it.
I'm on the fence, though, because what's kind of and what drives me nuts about these rumors, like especially this one, is that there's several in here that are like, someone is the bad apple. You know what I mean? Like, there's someone who is going, one of them has betrayed the group, but they don't realize it until a certain point or something like that. And I'm just wondering if we end up finding out that one of them, maybe the betrayer or betrayers, if there's multiple, had been interfering, but doing it, like you said, in a very subtle way so as to not violate whatever there seems to be some sort of, if I may use a fancy term, covenant of sorts that they will not violate because of whatever the tall, towering, robot-looking thing is supposed to be in the trailer that they show when they say, well, we promised, and who did you promise to? And it's just like this gargantuan thing that's just kind of like staring down at you, and you're like, oh, please don't hurt me.
Well, I mean, when you covenate not to
now who's abusing the gimmick now? Jeez,
I'm not abusing. I'm just making fun of you. There's totally two different things.
Oh, come on. Do it. Meditate. Gosh, I'm going to go the Jabroni.
Roll it again.
Good Lord. Oh.
I'm just hoping to get a guest spot on.
Are you sure you're not
looking podcasters?
You're not trying to keep up with me on the Uncle Nearest here. Come on now.
No, I've got seltzer right here. Maybe I've got a different brand of seltzer tonight. Maybe is there anything in this? No, it's just triple
Polar.
It's Poland Spring with a twist of triple berry. How you do a twist of 3 berries? I got no freaking clue.
Very carefully.
Yeah. You get some tweezers. Anyways,
oh my gosh. All right.
Do it.
No, I am going the Jabroni. I am agreeing with you. So
you are. You're gonna agree with me on all of them. And that one, you're putting it all on that one question. It's gonna hinge the entire thing. Totally new strategy for you.
Here's what it is. The last 2 times I get tempted like this, and I go the real, and it burns me. So I'm trying to. I'm basically gonna George Costanza this thing and do the opposite of what I.
I see. Do. I see. All right. So you're gonna oppositate.
That's right. I'm going to oppositate. So, all right. Next one.
That sounds like a new Nolan movie. Oppositate. Isn't it Oppenheimer? He changed it.
Yes. He added ATE and it changed everything.
It's actually an Abraham Lincoln biopic in disguise.
Oh my gosh!
Never saw it coming. But it was all shot backwards.
All right. The Eternals did not interfere because. Who knows? But it has something to do with Captain America.
Now, this was an interesting one because apparently the idea being that the Eternals somewhere along the line taught the Wakandans how to forge and work with vibranium. Okay. So therefore, you could draw a line from the Eternals to Captain America's shield.
Oh.
I, in fact, think that there is something to that the Eternals might be given credit for teaching the Wakandans, because when you think about it, it is a little bit weird. Yeah. That you're talking about thousands of years ago and this, this group of people anywhere on the planet would not have had the technology or the know-how to work with a metal that essentially absorbs anything that you do to it. It would make sense that someone or some ones who have much more, a more galactic perspective and a higher degree of technology and knowledge of what this is than people who are just discovering it, who are there to help humanity, would help the Wakandans learn this skill. I don't know. It kind of makes a little bit of sense to me. However, I don't think that they're all like, well, no, we're not going to do it because, hey, they've got Captain America, so they don't need us. I don't think that's it. So I'm going to go the Jabroni on this one.
A question for you. Let's say they did teach the Wakandans how to process vibranium and, which led to the shield being created. Would you consider that interference?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, it's depend on what kind of interference you're talking about, because just by virtue of them being on the planet and taking out these, what the heck are the things, like the creepy thing that came out of the ocean?
The deviants?
The deviants. Just by virtue of them being there, they're interfering. So it's really interfering in human affairs. So to me, it sounds like it isn't so much that they aren't allowed to help humans. They're just not allowed to interfere in human-to-human conflict. Okay. It seems like they are allowed to help humans, but they're not allowed to interfere in those conflicts and to pick sides.
All right. Okay.
Where this seems to be, it might be kind of a benevolent sort of thing. I think it's kind of thin anyways, that'll be part of it. I could see it happening, but it also has a whiff of that, this would be a really cool thing to tie in, that I'm like, I don't know if they'd actually do it.
All right.
What do you think, sir?
I'm actually going to go the Jabroni on this because I kind of feel like in phase 4 that whatever we learn about them, I mean, maybe there's some tie to the original Avengers, but it would just feel like a bit much for it to be that. I think probably what's kind of mucking with one's head with all this is that Feige comment about how it's going to redefine the MCU. And it's like, what form does that take? You know what I mean? And this is one of those forms, because you could find out that, okay, because of them, there was this whole domino effect that then, allowed Captain America to have the shield. Now, the shield is one part of Captain America. The other part is the serum, that made him who he was. Well, I mean, gave him the physical abilities. Of course, the person he was always within. But I don't know. I'm going to go Jabroni on this, but then I'm probably going to go the real on one of these next ones that is going to, maybe point kind of in a contradictory direction. But we will see. That this is why we are adjudicating.
Well, and just to break in here for a second, I think the redefinition or the redefinitionating, as you would put it, is more by setting the context in a much bigger time frame. I think that's one of the things that's the primary redefinition, because right now we have a very narrow sort of definition of this. Like everything that we know about the MCU really kind of goes back to what, 1940 something?
Mm-hmm. Right.
1939, 1940.
Yeah.
Actually, no, it would have to be 41, 42 because America's in the war. So you're talking like World War II forward. And really, it was just a brief stop in World War II, because then we very quickly at the end of that movie, boom, hey, skip over all that stuff in the middle, and now we're here. And then the only time you really kind of go back is Captain Marvel. So you step back to the 90s, and then we're back to 21st century.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I really feel like it's that time frame that is going to redefine everything, because now it gives them a much wider swath of time to look at and to really go back and, okay, so actually I take that back. So then Shang-Chi, you go back further. Sorry, I forgot about that. So you have that reach there. But again, sort of like Captain America, it's a very thin slice. Like it's backstory, and then you are brought to now. So you've gotten these quick glimpses back there. Now, really, I mean, if you're going to tell the story of the Eternals, you're going to see a lot of glimpses. It's going to start filling in some blanks, and if nothing else, it just kind of like widens your gaze quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I look at the redefinition, in case anybody was wondering.
Do you think it may also play out in a similar way to kind of like BSG, where, well, I guess it wouldn't be similar to BSG in really anyway, but like I always, when we've talked about BSG. Are you
trying to say the Cylons in the MCU?
No. But the whole idea that the story that you were watching, was really a predating of the Earth that we knew, or that we live in. You know what I'm saying? Like that whole idea that, and it's really saying maybe in a different way what you just said. It's widening the lens, because you end up, maybe the thing Feige's really referring to is there are some things that were kind of done long before the events that we saw in phase 1, 2, and 3 that basically set the stage for those things, but did not necessarily, they weren't directly interfering. You know what I mean? Like there's just some subtleties that kind of teed up what we ended up, seeing play out from the 1940s forward. And they're going to kind of fill in the blanks, so to speak. So it's kind of like the anti-BSG. It's like we see the end, but now we're going to kind of get a view into the beginning that kind of led into it, if that makes sense.
True. No, I would agree.
All right, let's see. The Eternals did not interfere because the Celestials are actually the villains, and the Eternals have been their pawns. What say you, sir?
This is the one that is very tempting for me. However, the way that I'm reading this, and I might have to go back to the tape on this when we do adjudicate our findings afterwards. But the way I read this is that the Celestials are actually the villains, meaning it's not that they become the villains, or that the Eternals realize like, oh, even though their goals were benevolent, they are really doing a harm. So therefore they're kind of the villain by default. This to me means that they were villains beforehand. They always have been villains, and that their plans have been nefarious from the very beginning. That's how I'm reading it.
Okay. All right.
So I'm tempted to say that. Look at you trying to lead the witness here. I see you typing it in.
Go ahead. Was I wrong?
No, I'm going with Jabroni. You're right. Yeah. So it is. I think it is. Yeah.
I'm going with the real, my friend.
Oh, look at you stepping out on your own.
And here is the reasoning why.
So proud of you.
Here's the reasoning why. So much, I agree with what you just said, but I think the key here is the manipulation. That this was kind of a similar question that was raised in the show Lost. There was a character in Lost who it seemed like supernatural things were happening to. Okay, like there would just be things that he would just know or he would come upon, and it just seemed like there was some like hand of God sort of thing going on with the character. And then you come to find out that the entire group, and I'm sorry, this show's been done for more than a decade, so sorry I'm spoiling it, but here we go.
Go pound sand.
Exactly. So basically you end up finding out that all of those things played out the way they did because the group at some point in the later seasons time travels, and they end up setting some things up, or some things happen that kind of led to characters doing the things that they did around this one character. So it's almost like raising the question when you talk about faith or when you talk about things happening through some sort of providential whatever. Is it happening because that's really what's going on, or is it a manipulation that's going on? And so what I kind of honed in here on this one is I could very much buy into the idea that the Celestials who may or may not be the ones setting the boundaries around the Eternals are doing so to manipulate them. You know what I'm saying? Like the rules are not really the rules. They're there because the Eternals have some sort of respect or some sort of, well, I mean, respect's the only word that's coming to mind, for the boundaries that are being set around them. So they follow them, but those rules really don't matter at the end of the day. It's a group just saying, don't do this, with there really not being a consequence that follows. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I that's why I'm saying the real, that I could definitely see that. Like, they seem like they're a cohesive group, and I could see some other group manipulating them or doing something to them where they believe reality is one thing when it's really not.
So what you're saying is they're more guidelines than rules.
Indeed.
All right, fair enough.
All right, next one. They did not interfere because actually it's exactly what the trailer told us, and they live by a code of non-interference.
I'm going with a real on this one. I don't think that is the big twist. I think that they're just telling you that right out front.
I will agree with you as well.
Of course you will.
Of course I will. And finally, the last one so we've had 11 of these that are all about why they didn't interfere. They just didn't feel like it.
I really feel this one needs to be read as like, Tommy Chong. This didn't feel like it, man.
They didn't feel like it, man.
Dave's not here, man. Yeah, Jabroni. I mean, it's not that they didn't feel like it. I think that you kind of get the vibe from them that they kind of actually wouldn't have minded interfering.
Well, there's one character, I don't know his name yet, having not seen the movie. He's the one where at the end he makes the funny comment about how his table was, fall catalog IKEA, that character. There's a scene further back when they talk about, when Kit Harington's character is talking about, why did you guys not interfere with Thanos? And they said they've had to, step back from world events and that sort of thing. And they show like the atomic bomb going off. And then they have this cut to that character kind of, burying his head in one of the other Eternals, shoulders, kind of crying, like almost like they have to step back and not stop certain events, but they're losing people that they come to know. You know what I mean? Through it. And so they are having to pay a price by their non-interference. So that's why I feel like this one just doesn't fly, because it seems like they are going to carry a heavy burden around with them, that they are unable to do those things. And they've lost greatly along the way, in moments where maybe they allowed themselves to be vulnerable and either fall in love or develop some sort of relationship with the humans that they interact with.
It is that trope that extends whenever you have one long living or eternal or immortal character and dealing with those who are not.
Yes.
How attachments work and how all of that does not work. So yeah. Of course it's going to play in here. I mean, it has to. I mean, otherwise these are just automaton, feelingless beings, which doesn't appear to be the case. All righty. Where were we?
We're on number 12.
Hit me with it.
All right. We've broken free, if you will, of the why did they not interfere trope. And now we're moving on to some more independent and individualized real and jabroni rumors.
Yes.
This next one here, the Eternals. We kind of talked about this already, but the Eternals taught Wakanda how to mine and process vibranium. The real or the jabroni?
I'm going to take a chance on this one and say the real. I think it's bordering on being that too cute fanboy. Oh, wouldn't it be awesome if? But I think it is kind of a nice way to tie up something that is a bit of a loose end. And I don't think it would take much heavy lifting. I don't actually think as far as a focal point, it wouldn't change much if that was just woven into the lore. So I don't think it's an inflectate point, as you might say. But I think it might be interesting filler background information.
I see.
And yourself.
I am also going to go the real on this one. The question of Wakanda and why it's kind of separate and how it's able to kind of do what it can do has never really been explained. And I think this is something I could see as part of that, kind of filling in the gaps of what kind of came before would make a lot of sense. And so, so I am going to go the real on this one. I think it would be within the realm, in my mind at least, of the Eternals, not interfering, but certainly helping a society to, kind of learn how to process something to better themselves and others. So
very good. And that one was via comicbook.com for those of you keeping score at home.
All right.
And a little bit of background, housekeeping. The next few will all be from Screen Rant, but it is a collection of Redditor theories.
Oh, I have to read some of these names.
Oh, these are glorious, really.
Oh, they are. They are. All right, this next one comes by way of Redditor Corvus Guevara. Sounds like a wrestler name.
That actually should be. If it isn't, it should be.
Corvus Guevara.
Can you just hear Howard Finkel announcing Corvus Guevara? I mean, wouldn't that be...
Guevara! There you go.
Actually, no, he would need his own personal ring announcer. Like, who was the dude that...
Alberto Del Rio.
Yes.
Yes.
What a great gimmick to have your own personal ring announcer.
Well,
I mean, that's so awesome.
And then when he faces CM Punk comes out with Howard Finkel.
Yeah. And unfortunately, Howard had been not doing a whole lot except eating since the time he hadn't been working regularly.
All right.
It was tough finding a tux that fit the Fink at that point.
Yeah, poor
but
guy.
he was still sounded so great.
Oh,
he was
did.
great.
Well,
you could tell he was loving that moment too. I'll link the video because it is heartwarming. Like if you grew up in the 80s into the 90s and you watched WWF, WWE, Howard Finkel was the ring announcer, and he had a very distinct tone and just kind of cadence and all of that. And as soon as he opened his mouth in that video, it was weird. Like I got all the feels. I was like, wow, I didn't realize it, but it was nice. It was wholesome and it was nice and it was fun. And he was the one who really, he kind of had that, now whenever a new champion is crowned, there's hashtag and new, because he had that special call, and new, just to make it and to make it extra special and kind of add that emphasis on it. And sort of like how they talk about on the Stone Cold sessions, like Earl Hebner had like that big swinging 3 count for like the
championship count, as Austin would call it.
Which is, it's great, like those little things. And I know that we haven't been talking wrestling a whole lot, for those of you who are tuning in and probably just like, oh my gosh, are we going to talk about movies? Yes, we're getting there. All right. But no, that was just great. It was a great little moment. So anyways, where were we? What the hell were we talking about?
All I said was Corvus Guevara, and it would be a wrestling name, and that just caused 5 to 7 minutes of just total tangent. So this one is, the movie will show how Nowhere's Celestial lost its head.
The real. And mostly that's a hope, because as like a fervent prayer, I would love for that revealed. I think that'd be awesome.
I think I'm gonna.
That actually, it softened up all my logic, and now I'm just like, oh, I want this to happen. I'm all happy now that we talked about Howard Finkel. Like, what's going on? What is in this? What is in this seltzer? Good Lord! Is this like CBD or something? Do I got like weed seltzer?
Maybe. Could be.
I don't know. Whatever. It's legal here, but still.
I'm going to go the real as well. I think
I was wondering why this costs like $15 a bottle. Now it makes sense.
It's the good stuff. No, I too. I think it'd be kind of neat to see that. I think it would be interesting to kind of backfill that. I think a lot of these are, we're kind of predicating on the idea that there's going to be a lot of kind of fill in of things that have happened before, and we can kind of see, oh, this is how this happened. So I'm going to go the real as well. I think that'd be kind of a interesting tangential sort of reference to kind of, again, fill in a gap that exists within the overall lore of the MCU up to this point.
All right.
Next one coming courtesy of Redditor Realistic Analyst 26. Cersei and Dane's child will be the MCU's first mutant. The real or the jabroni?
What do you think?
I'm going to go the jabroni. I just don't think the mutant thing is really what this movie's about.
Do you know who Cersei and Dane are?
I have no idea who they are.
Me neither. I was curious if you knew. See, the thing is, I really do. I think mutants are going to come in here somewhere, but I don't I know this. I think Cersei is one of the Eternals, and then I think
Do it.
I'm going to go the real.
All right, there we go. That's what I want to hear.
You know what? It's this weed seltzer that's talking now. I don't know what's going on. I can't be held responsible for my picks.
You see, ladies and gentlemen, I have to take advantage of the Howard Finkel moment because it has given him a right now. Uncle Todd is in a state of elation. He is elating, and so we now need to take advantage of this. And
you know what? You're infuriating. How about that?
Well played, sir. Well played. You know, these always come down to certain issues that you and I fall on either side of, and the mutant seems to the mutant issue seems to be the thing that is causing the divide here. So very interesting.
True.
All right, this next one, courtesy of Redditor Night Hunter 909. Quite possibly a wrestler name as well. We'll see.
Of course, that one's like early 90s, like late 80s. That's a total Vince creation. The Night Hunter. It'll be some dude in like just
paint your face in camouflage.
It would be because didn't they have like a stalker character?
Oh yeah,
wasn't?
Yeah, but that was one incarnation, believe it or not, of Barry Windham.
Yeah. So totally Night Hunter, and it still would have included the 909. He would have found a way to make that work because it sounds cool.
You probably have a move like Rey Mysterio. He's got the 619. This would be the 909.
Anyways, my gosh, we're going way deep into wrestling for this show.
I'm not trying to. I just make the comment and you just go off, my friend. You're in a Howard Finkel state of mind.
I see. The thing is here,
I don't even think I read it yet.
We've got the next three. They're all about who the villain is. I got no idea who any of these people are.
So here's the rumor. Gilgamesh is the antagonist of the movie. I have no idea who Gilgamesh is.
Me neither. I'm going to go Jabroni.
All right.
As you can tell, we're so well prepared for this. We really are. But, hey, we've both got jobs.
But that's okay. I mean...
jobs that don't involve this, which is actually terrifying, I think, for most of our listeners. Like, oh, my gosh, I hope it's not operating heavy machinery. No, actually, we're both doctors. Oh, dear God, no.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, that would really put him over the edge. Oh, my goodness. All right.
We got to wrap this up. I got surgery in an hour.
Yes. I have no idea who Gilgamesh is, and because of that, I have no idea if he would make a good antagonist or not. So I'm just going to.
You know what would be great is if Gilgamesh was played by Gilbert Godfrey.
Oh, jeez. Oh.
I'm Gilgamesh. I don't know why, but that just for some reason that just sounds awesome to me.
Oh boy.
Where's Gilbert Godfrey? I need more Gilbert Godfrey in my life. I miss that dude.
I don't know. I'm good. I'm doing good.
Actually, is he still alive?
He is.
He is.
Okay.
How do you know? Is there is it GilbertGodfreyAlive.com?
No. I just I don't recall ever getting a news article that said he wasn't.
And you are correct. Gilbert Godfrey is still with us, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
Man, and you know what? The world is much better for it. Gilbert Godfrey's 66 years old.
Oh, really?
I actually would have guessed a little bit older, but that just means hopefully we have more Gilbert ahead of us than behind us.
Indeed. All right. This next rumor is from Redditor Mild Optimism. I don't like that name. Icarus is the antagonist of the movie. Is Icarus... Is that Angelina Jolie or is that someone else?
No, I believe Icarus is one of the Eternals. I think it's actually the dude who shoots the stuff out of his eyes.
Oh, okay.
And did you say which Redditor this was from?
Yes, Mild Optimism.
Okay, yes.
Which I did not like the name because it's not a wrestling name.
The Mild Optimist.
Sounds like a Transformer name.
Actually, it sounds like most of our fans, they're just mildly optimistic that this show might improve to listenable. That's... Are you optimistic? Mildly. I mean...
I'll go first. You know what? I'll go first on this one. I'm going to go
Okay,
Jabroni.
Go right ahead.
I'm going to go Jabroni.
See, now I'm tempted because it would kind of make sense that you get one of them betraying the others.
Why does someone have to betray the group?
Because it's just kind of it's one of those things that happens.
You got the big towering robot thing that scares them all.
I know, but it's one of those things that happens. It's why you have Dolph Lundgren betraying everyone else in the Expendables, and they all welcome him back like he just wasn't shooting at them for the past hour. I mean, because why not?
I must break you.
Anyways, I'm gonna go the real.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something there.
Something there, huh? Now, this one's kind of random, and maybe you can give me some context for this from Redditor Comics Empire. Bly. This one is Black Knight is the villain. Who is Black Knight?
Well, that was the guy from wasn't that the guy from Monty Python's Holy Grail? Wasn't that the dude who got
Yeah, I thought so.
Arm? Merely a flesh wound.
Merely a flesh wound.
See, again, I'm just showing how much knowledge I have of the Eternals here. I got no idea, and that's why I'm going to go with the Jabroni.
I think I will concur. Ava. Let me.
You didn't take typing in high school, now, did you?
I did actually.
Oh my gosh, were you like
the fingers
illiterate before that?
Every now and then. Yeah, I'm gonna go Jabroni as well. I don't know who this character is, and I don't know if they're the villain or not. So I'm just gonna say nah. I mean, This is where you play the percentages, folks. A lot of these are false. Of course, I'll be sitting in the movie theater, and every so often someone will hear me go "Ah!" because I know I will have lost a point at Real and Jabroni. All right. Oh, this is an interesting name. This is from Redditor Thanos' father. Well,
no, it's Thanos is father.
Which
means it's very apropos for this one. But hey, don't worry. I'll translate for you again. Like, oh my gosh,
Moses.
I didn't realize that the person I was doing this show with, you know what? It makes perfect sense now how this gets goofed up every week. Apparently, the person I work with can't read or write. I didn't know this.
Thanosis.
We're gonna get the miracle worker over there. She's gonna teach you how to sign, like water or something. I don't. Gonna put a cheeseburger in your hand.
Thanos.
Thanos' father.
There we go.
Thanos' father. Oh, it sounds like a college in the Midwest.
All right. So the rumor is the Eternals already fought and lost against Thanos. Interesting.
I'm gonna go. Well, I mean, this would fit in if we went back to one of the first ones. The reason why they didn't interfere was that they were from a different part of the multiverse. However, it wouldn't make much sense for the movie to proceed if they already lost in their multiverse. Mm-hmm. It would kind of, I don't know, takes a little edge, a little shine off of the Eternals coming here. Like, oh, you saved us? You already got your butt kicked by Thanos. Great. I'm gonna go Jabroni.
Okay. Now, I'm going to go Jabroni, but here's my reasoning. Here's what's kind of interesting about this whole idea with why didn't you help with Thanos? When you really think about the impact that Thanos had on Earth across Infinity War and Endgame, you're talking about a very, very, very limited amount of time. Infinity War, Thanos literally walks into Wakanda, and he's probably there for 10 minutes, snaps his fingers, and leaves. Mm-hmm. So for folks to expect the Eternals to do anything about that seems a bit far-fetched in my mind, especially if they're in some sort of state where their powers are not active. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I kind of get the sense is the case because there's that one scene with, I think, Salma Hayek's character where you see this like pearl kind of go into her and then she kind of lights up. So like, I'm wondering if they're in kind of a deactive state anyways to begin with, where they don't have their powers. They're kind of reduced into kind of this inert form. And then when you talk about Endgame, I mean, yes, Endgame was a massive battle, but it wasn't their place to interfere in that in the same way that it wasn't their place to interfere in the A-bomb going off or anything else. You know what I mean? So I just don't see no, maybe there was some other battle off world, some other galaxy or something like that. They end up, encountering him, but it feels like a lot of this is focused on Earth and what they're doing there. And so that's my long-winded explanation for saying no to Thanos.
Right on.
All right. Now that we've adjudicated that point, from Redditor, Swallow Your Mind. Oh, dear God.
It sounds like the new album by Tool.
Yeah, basically.
Actually, no, that's actually more of a Limp Bizkit album. I don't want to sully the name of Tool with something like that. That would be a perfect Limp Bizkit album.
Yes, I would agree with that. This one is the Eternals look up to the Avengers.
Now, see, here's the problem that I have because tallest Avenger is Thor. I looked it up. Hemsworth is around 6'3". Now, you could make the argument the Hulk 7'8" when it's the Hulk, but as a normal dude, Mark Ruffalo 5'9", Robert Downey Jr. same 5'9".
Are you going for a literal looking up at them?
Well, I mean, I see what you mean. Gotcha. Well, that's equally ridiculous because I mean, oh yes, we look up to you so much. I mean, we've only lived for thousands of years and have powers and can fly without the assistance of a hammer or a suit. Yes, we're definitely looking up to the mortal and a demigod. Fine. Okay. One, but a bunch of mere mortals and a dude with a bow and arrow. No. False. We're going with the Jabroni on that one.
So question.
Sure.
What do we mean
by...
The
answer is 5.
What do we mean by look up to the Avengers? Like, do they have a respect for the Avengers because of what they did? Or is it...
Well, I think if it's respect, I mean, you can have respect and not look up to somebody. I think when you're looking up to them, it's like you're idolizing them. You're putting them up on a pedestal, if you will. You're pedestalating them. Actually, that sounds horrible. Let's just forget that I ever said that.
Backfired on you, mister.
You're idolating. That's not much better, actually. Never mind. But you're looking up to them. You're putting them up above yourself.
I hear you.
So that's why I think it's Jabroni.
All right.
Either that, the Eternals have some serious like self-loathing issues that they should really go talk to someone about. And I don't know where you're going to get that many couches in one spot.
I see.
Especially considering how they treated the IKEA table. I don't know if anyone's going to let them around furniture, honestly.
That's fair. All right. We're now circling on to number 20. We have 8 more to go. From Redditor, Little Mon, Thanos dusted the Eternals. The reel of the Jabroni.
This is an interesting one because it took out superheroes. So it's that whole dusting thing could take out anybody. So this is a legit possibility. However, what are the odds that it would be all of the Eternals? You know what I mean? And if it was only half of them, or even there's 1 or 2 Eternals left, wouldn't that kind of like jolt them into action? Like, oh, wow, we got to interfere because now this involves us directly. So I'm going to go the Jabroni on that one. I think the odds are too great that it would be all of them. And if it wasn't all of them, it makes even less sense that the others wouldn't intervene in some way.
And I would agree.
Well, I'm glad. Can't tell you how happy that makes me.
Well, I figure as much. The next one. The Eternals decided to not fight against Thanos. This is courtesy of Redditor, and I like this name, Professor Beer.
Beer.
All right, I'll go first.
I'm sorry. That's because I know that's off the menu for you, so that's kind of a painful one.
That's all right. I've had a couple Uncle Nearest. I'm good to go. So,
is there any of that bottle left? You have a straw in it at this point, don't you?
Basically. I'm going to go.
Awesome if it was like a silly straw, or if it was like 5 or 6 straws all like nested together, so you're not even. It's like it's basically taped to your microphone stand. That'd be awesome.
It's a swirly loop-to-loop kind of straw. I'm going to go the reel on this one. It seems, given the reasoning from prior ones and just, from the trailer, like there was a decision made and it was to not involve. So I'm thinking, we'll go with the reel on this one.
I will as well. That would imply if we're saying no to all the rest, then, well, they must have made this decision.
That is right. The friend of my enemy is my friend, or something like that. Anyways,
you got to stop intoxicating.
Oh boy! All right, this one is from Redditor Date Man. If I said that right, or if I read that correctly, the Eternals are Phase 4's antagonists. Interesting.
That was a very Shatner-esque reading of that one. Appreciate it. Did you put on your special toupee for that one?
I kind of did. I needed to brush it out.
You need to get it re-permed. Do you remember back in the like the 80s when Shatner had the permed?
Oh gosh,
the permed toupee. It was post T.J. Hooker, right around Star Trek 4. I think Star Trek 4 was the peak toupee era for Shatner, in my opinion. I think that was peak toupee.
Bones, my toupee is off kilter.
It might as well have had a chin strap.
Help me.
It was so obvious. It was just like...
I just remember The Simpsons did a spoof on... like it was a real quick like reference to Star Trek, and it was like Shatner. Oh, it was like in the future, and Shatner was like this really old guy still doing the Captain Kirk shtick, but his everything, all his other hair was gray, and he still had the brown toupee on.
Yes. I think I remember that. Yep.
That was fantastic.
I'm going to go Jabroni on this because I don't think there's a precedent for the Eternals necessarily being villains. I could be wrong, but then again, I didn't read this comic book growing up, so who knows? But I'm just going to say Jabroni. I don't see an immediate heel turn after the debut.
All right.
If you will.
You got to work up to the heel turn. You got to establish goodwill, and then you got to, at some point, take your partner's head and just throw him through the barbershop window. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You just can't come right out and crack him over the head with a coconut. You know, you got to build. That's what's going to draw the money.
You got to super kick him and then throw him through the barbershop window.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And make sure, and then grab and make sure you rip the crucifix off. How many wrestling references can we fit into here?
Right. Yeah. I see we've abandoned our policy on wrestling in the show.
Oh well, it was nice while it lasted for a whole 3 episodes. Anyways,
right.
Next,
this is via Fandom Wire. The Eternals didn't interfere. Wait a minute, this is another non-interference one. Why wasn't this grouped up with the others?
Because it came from somewhere else. This one is via Fandom Wire.
Oh, okay. You're organizing them by source. I see. Okay, so the next 3 are going to be like this. The Eternals didn't interfere until now because there's a bigger threat coming. ... Galactus.
I'm going to go Jabroni.
Really?
Because I think that. What are you doing? My gosh, that's my hard-earned work. Hard work that you're just deleting there without all willy-nilly, without a care in the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, we had a highlighting error that wiped out the entire rumor, but
you're deleting.
I undoated it, and we were back in business.
In business aiding. So yeah, I think it's Jabroni. I just don't see that. I just don't see Galactus getting introduced here. I think the money is on Galactus maybe showing up later. I think that'll be more in the Fantastic Four realm, because if I'm remembering right, I think Galactus is a Fantastic Four villain, and I think we're going to get that later on.
All right, I'm actually going to go the real on this one.
Oh, okay.
I'm just gonna kind of throw it out there and just just put I haven't taken a lot of risks so far. I've been pretty much jabroniing the whole way here, so I'm gonna go the real, because I think that'd be kind of an interesting twist to have Galactus kind of be hinted at, or that their concern is that this is something that could be, and so I'm gonna go the real on this one.
Fair enough.
All right, next one. The Eternals didn't interfere until now because there's a bigger threat coming. ... Annihilus.
Not even sure who Annihilus is, although maybe it's a Annihilus Morissette, and we get jagged little multiverse. I don't know. But I'm going Jabroni. Hey, I'll be here all week, unfortunately.
And keep in mind, folks, the 2:00 show is completely different from the 5:00 show.
No better, but different. And what do you say, sir?
I am also going to say Jabroni. I have no idea who Annihilus is, and I think even if they brought him on screen, it would not really register with me. So I'm at least somewhat aware of Galactus. So I'm going to say no to Annihilus. I can only back one bad guy as the bigger threat, and that is Galactus. So no. Finally, the last bigger threat that could be coming is the Celestials themselves.
See, this is the tempting one, because to me, this is just different enough from the previous Celestial question that maybe the Eternals start understanding that the Celestials are a threat, that they didn't know it always, or that they've become a threat, or that their actions are becoming threatening. I'm really tempted on this one.
Well, it would play into the idea that they're manipulating them, right?
Yeah, I'm going to go the real. Why not? Throw caution to the wind.
I, on the other hand, am
competing against an out-and-out drunk right now. He's had half a bottle of Uncle Nearest. I've got to figure that gives me an advantage.
I'm going to go the Jabroni. I've already I'm backing Galactus on this one, so I can't have 2 horses in the race. So, hello, I'm Mr. Ed.
Hello, Wilbur. I'm Galactus.
Oh boy.
By the way, in case I don't even know why I looked this up, but hey, did you know Yakov Smirnoff still with us?
Is he really?
I don't know why. I thought Gilbert Godfrey, and then I'm like, I wonder if Yakov Smirnoff is still alive. And I did, and he's doing quite well, I guess.
So folks,
70 years old this year.
Well, Mazel Tov. There's the YouTube rabbit hole we tend to go down, and then Uncle Todd goes down the what celebrity isn't dead yet rabbit hole.
Well, I mean, you got to check on these things because the other thing
Weird
is
Al. Is Weird Al still with us, ladies and gentlemen?
Oh yeah, Weird Al is still going. Weird Al's going to outlive us all. The only person that's going to compete with Weird Al is Vince's head in a jar. That's the only person. Because quite honestly, Weird Al is like all vegetarian, like healthy, never drank, never smoked, never took any drugs. Like that dude is like in peak physical condition. And funny. You know, it's the rest of us poor suckers who are eating cheeseburgers who are going to die with like 15 pounds of, you know, undigested meat in our colon, which is going to be a hoot. But damn, hysterical. It tastes good. But yeah, but you have to check these things out because the thing is like, because there's so many of like, you know, people who I idolize or who I really enjoyed their work growing up and all that, who have died in the last, you know, 5-6 years. Every time I see that someone's trending on like Twitter or Instagram, I'm like, oh no, what happened? I'm just like, oh no, come on. Please just tell me they're getting sued or something. Like, did they kick off? Like, what happened?
Yeah.
I mean, case in point, Jerry Remy, Boston Red Sox announcer, former Red Sox player, just passed away the other day. I knew he wasn't well, but he's kind of come back so many times that I started seeing a bunch of pictures. I'm like, oh man. And it's just that you don't even need the official report. You just see a bunch of people posting photos and you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a world that we live in. So yeah, every so often I like to go around and check like, hey, is this person still alive? This person's still alive. Whew, okay. If I see him on Twitter, I don't have to panic for a little bit.
Interesting.
Maybe it's just me. I don't know. I need better hobbies. Really. That's what it's about.
A peek into the mind of Uncle Todd.
I'm sorry.
No reason to apologize. I think
no, there's plenty of reasons to apologize.
Gosh.
All right, what do we got up next? We're nearing the end here. We're on the home stretch.
This one is via inverse. Kang variant Rama Tut will appear. This one's interesting.
Another one that is very interesting, and I like it, and I think it's just a little too cute, man. It's just a little too cute. I don't think we're going to see Kang in this. I mean, well, actually, if we were going to see anybody in like a brief cameo, maybe. Mm-hmm. I don't know how distracting that would be. You know what I mean? That's the thing I question. Like, you already have this many characters. You're already trying to set up this epic scope across all these years. Do you really want to drop Kang in there and pull people out of the story? Would it pull people out of the story? Could they do it subtly enough and sensically enough that you wouldn't see, what's his name? I can't remember the actor's name.
Jonathan... Jonathan.
Yeah, exactly.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, but that you wouldn't see him and go, and it just totally distracts from everything else, and then that's what people are talking about for like the next few days or whatever. That's the thing I question with this, and why some of these that are kind of the fanboy fangirl, that would be awesome sort of theories don't end up happening because it would distract from the overall story. And I honestly feel like I would like it to be the real. It would be cool, but I think it's the jabroni because I think it would be too distracting.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn.
I don't think he's the kind of character that you can just drop in for a cameo in the middle of the flick. And not unless they did like, if this was like an end scene, you know, like a mid-credit or post-credit scene and it was a flashback, maybe then. Maybe, because then it would be sort of the whole Thanos thing with the Avengers and really doesn't affect the overall story. I was thinking more during the movie. So I guess, but even then, I think you're still, it's thin, dude. It's wafer thin. That's a possibility. So I'm going to stick with the jabroni.
All right. I'm kind of going back and forth on this as well. Because as cool as it would be to see Kang in this, like you said, like this is where I get into trouble. You know what I mean? And so I'm going to George Costanza this thing, and I'm going to say the jabroni.
Isn't it Jonathan Swift?
Who plays Kang?
Jonathan Majors. I don't know why I said Swift. That was kind of dumb. Jonathan Majors.
All right. Next. En Saba Nuiter, a.k.a. the Mutant Apocalypse, another mutant reference, will make an appearance. This is via comicbook.com. I'm going to go the jabroni. I'm on an anti-mutant kick during this episode, and so I'm going to hold true to every other judgment I have made, and I'm going to say the jabroni on this one.
See, this is the one I actually think could happen because Apocalypse is if I'm remembering right, is a fairly long-lived mutant and has been around. So it would make sense, but it is, again, it's in that territory of, it's a little too cute. It's a little too much because you'd already have some antagonists in here, unless they introduce him as the antagonist right from the get-go. I don't know how you're going to make this work. So I'm going to go with Jabroni as well.
All right. I concur. And then finally, and actually, once we get through this one, I have one like the man they call Tim came up with this one.
Oh, a
29th one to throw in there. But
no, there won't be a Mephisto.
All right, 29 and 30. All right. Last one that we have written down right now. Thana, again, no idea, and Crow, no idea. Thana and Crow's children /children will be the first mutants in the MCU. So I'm on an anti-mutant kick. I'm going to say the Jabroni.
I'll go real.
Oh,
because I believe Thana or Athena or whoever is Angelina Jolie's character, and I think I remember reading something about something that this is a possibility. So what the hell? Why not? Why not?
All right. So this is all going to hinge on whether this movie actually does anything with mutants or not. If they do something with mutants, this is probably going to swing Uncle Todd's way. If they do not, the man they call Tim could be staring down the barrel of a fine bourbon of his choosing. Or sorry, whiskey of his choosing. Because as we know, not all bourbons are whiskey, but all whiskey. No, sorry, the other way.
Oh my gosh. That's it. I'm taking the keys away from the man they call Tim right now. We're done. Okay. I'm calling your wife. I'm telling her to come downstairs and grab that bottle out of your hand. You're not even sitting in your chair anymore. You're on the floor right now.
No,
I'm
standing. All bourbons are whiskey, but not all whiskeys are bourbon. There we go.
There you go. Okay.
All right. So here's my 29th one. Do we want to throw in a bonus one, a 29th around, since we're talking about like the Kang variant and, Apocalypse potentially. Any thoughts on Shang-Chi's father? Or better yet, does this explain anything with regard to the rings?
Now that could be a possibility, although I would think that if there's any chance of that, someone would have had a rumor about it, and I didn't see anything like that. So I mean, I would already be on the side of the Jabroni right there, because ain't nobody sniffed out a whiff of it. Although then again, maybe that means it is the real, because since most of these rumors end up being complete crap anyways, maybe that's the thing. Who knows?
So do you want to add it or just say punt?
I'll let you decide, since you're the one who's drunk right now. Go right ahead.
I am not. Come on now.
Heinz drunk.
Oh, stop it. So what do we want to call this one?
That's actually a really great song. There's a song by Albert Collins called "I Ain't Drunk, I'm Just Drinking."
What do you think of that? The Eternals are aware of Shang-Chi's rings and their origin.
Okay.
I mean, I know your answer will still be the Jabroni, but I just thought.
No, I mean, again, the fact that nobody else has picked this up means it's much more likely to be for the real, because all the other theories are crap. So there's a legit chance that us just picking stuff out of thin air is more accurate than some of these well thought out theories. So I'm going to go with the real. Why not?
Are you?
Yep.
I know I wrote it, but I'm actually on the fence. I'm sorry, I got to go George Costanza on this one. Normally, I would say the real. Wouldn't that be something if I basically cornered you into a 1 point differential based on this one? Interesting.
We'll see.
Actually, there's a 30th one we can throw in, which is Mephisto is the villain.
No, we're not Mephistiating.
All right, no Mephistiating.
No.
Well, my friend, we have journeyed through the rumors. Will you be seeing it this weekend?
I don't know. It's going to depend. I think there's a decent chance that I might be able to get to it. I'm still. Then again, I thought I was going to be able to see Dune by now, but circumstances have worked against me getting to a theater.
Yes.
So I'm hopeful that maybe I'll get to see one of them. I think it'll be more likely to be the Eternals than Dune, because the kid is definitely more hyped for the Eternals than for Dune.
Mm-hmm.
However, she actually does seem to be kind of interested in that. She seems to be warming up to that. So we'll see.
All right. Well, my friend, that is it for this version. The Eternals edition of The Real and the Jabroni.
Until we calculate later on.
And adjudicate.
And another thing.
So what do you got for And Another Thing this week, sir?
All right. Well, my And Another Thing is a pleasant little series my wife and I have been watching on Netflix that came into some acclaim and some prominence, I think, toward the end of its run in 2019 and 2020. Probably more 2020, where we're all homebound and trying to not lose our minds.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be the just delightful and hilarious comedy series Schitt's Creek, starring Eugene Levy, his son Dan, Catherine O'Hara, who has starred in many vehicles alongside Eugene Levy. And I need to look up the girl, the gal who plays the daughter. I'm sorry. I got to look her up real quick. But geez, I took notes on everything else but that. I'll come back to it. Premise of the show: rich snobby family loses everything except they happen to own a small town somewhere. We don't know exactly where. It's kind of like The Simpsons. You never really know what state it's in or if it's in Canada or something like that. But the dad apparently buys this small town as a joke for his son, and that is the only thing they have left because the government can't. Basically, they lose all their money due to being swindled out of it with his business associate or something like that, his accountant. And so they have to move to this small town and basically live in a motel. And so, it's a very, so many of these episodes, my wife and I have just been laughing out loud as we're watching it. It is very good comedy, very funny stuff. First two seasons are really kind of about them trying to get out of the town. And then it really starts to develop heart toward the end of season 2 into seasons 3 through 6, where it really starts to go to, it's funny, but there is some warmth and some, it's character growth. It's seeing them grow and kind of grow beyond what they were and grow as a family and that sort of thing. And so it's a really funny show, a lot of warmth, a lot of joy, a lot of inclusivity. Just really enjoy it a lot. And so highly recommend it. If you have not seen this show, please do. It is so funny. And Dan Levy is he is just phenomenal as David. He is just such a great character, and just absolutely love the interactions between him and the gal who plays his sister, who I'm trying to look up right now.
It is Annie Murphy.
Thank you very much, sir, as I babble on and not embarrass myself. So yeah, my And Another Thing, Schitt's Creek on Netflix. Check it out. And how about you, sir?
So the funny thing is, me and my wife actually just watched the first episode of that the other day. And it is funny, but it's one of those shows that I don't think just based on the first episode, I'm not like all in.
You got to keep watching it.
Well, I think it's mostly me. Like, there's some shows that it takes me a little while to get into, and some that just grab me immediately. And this feels to me like one of those ones, like after 4 or 5 episodes, I'd be like, oh yes, all in.
Mm-hmm.
But after the first episode, I'm sort of like, meh, okay.
Keep watching.
It was, and the thing is though, they did such a great job of jumping you right into the story in like the opening scene, and just like everything is just going wrong, and it just throws you right in, and it's great. And all of the main characters of the Rose family are fantastic. And then you start meeting the other, and Chris Elliott gets himself from work here. Which is great. I don't know the last time I even heard from Chris Elliott. I think the last time I saw him on anything, he was on a couple of random episodes of King of Queens.
Yep.
And so that was kind of nice. But yeah, it was funny, but it wasn't one of those things that immediately just grabbed me.
Okay. Give it time.
I would highly recommend giving it. I'm going to try and watch some more, because now I've hooked into Netflix, and I found a bunch of stuff that I want to watch. So apparently I'm riding the Netflix train for a little while.
All right. There's an episode in season 1 where they deal with the sign that you see as you go into the town, and it's hysterical. It is such a funny episode. There are just so many episodes like that. So I could rattle off a few others. There's one in season 2 where Dan Levy and Catherine O'Hara are doing she's trying to teach him how to cook a family recipe. And she doesn't.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? And she doesn't even know how to do it. And and it's like, fold the cheese in. How do you do that? It's it's so funny.
I've seen that clip. Someone sent that to my wife, and I watched it, and I'm like, okay, that's ridiculous. I probably have to watch this.
Oh, good stuff, my friend. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways, what about you? What is your and another thing?
Well, mine also happens to be from the world of Netflix because like I said, I'm hooked into the Netflix freaking matrix at this point now. They're getting my money.
Time to fly.
The main reason that I kind of went in for Netflix is because now there's a couple things I wanted to see, and Another Life, starring a friend of the show, Katie Sackhoff, and she is playing the lead in this in the second season, as she did in the first. Nico Breckenridge, astronaut and commander of an intergalactic spacecraft. And first season, for me, it's tough because all by itself, it's just a fun kind of sci-fi show, But the problem being, when you have an actor who I really enjoyed her work in one of my all-time favorite things that has ever been on television, it's really hard to see that person in another sci-fi, even though BSG was always kind of what Ron Moore said, it's a drama that happens to be set in sci-fi. This is much more sci-fi, and it's hard to not draw comparisons. But once you just kind of, if you can kind of sever that need to make the comparisons, like, hey, this isn't the same as BSG. Of course it's not. Of course it's not. It's nothing like it.
Right.
It's a fun show. It's a fun show. And I'm not saying that there aren't some problems. There's a couple of the actors that I'm just like, man, how did you get this gig? I don't understand. I don't understand what the thought process was with casting. It kind of brings things down a little bit. However, I think Katie Sackhoff is really good in it. I think there's a couple other actors in there who I really wish I'd done a little research on here and I could look them up. But I think there's a good handful of so the actor who plays the artificial intelligence William on the ship, I think did really well in this. And there's a good handful of actors who do turn in some really good performances. The one complaint I would have is that they go through so many characters, it almost gets to a point of like The Sopranos, who's going to get whacked this week sort of thing. Like when you just start of get into that mode of like, okay, who's going to get killed this week? What's going to, that sort of thing. Overall, though, it's a fun ride. And both seasons are 10 episodes and they're about an hour. So, I mean, it's not a brisk watch by any means, but it's bingeable over a decent amount of time, and it's just fun. And it goes from sci-fi. There are even some more horror moments that were, for me, kind of started getting into that area of like, okay, I'm not sure I like this because that's not my genre. Some good action, even some decent comedy and some drama. So there's a little something for everyone in there. You know what I mean? But nice. I highly recommend it. I think it's a fun watch as long as you don't try and belabor comparisons to BSG and you just enjoy it for what it is. It's a good watch.
Nice. Very cool.
Yes, indeed. Well, so sad, but now it's that time, folks. It's that time when we have to say farewell to all of our good friends out there on the interwebs. We have to just pick up our bags and say farewell to all of you. I don't know why I'm dragging this out. It's just the end of the podcast. It's not like we're ending this thing forever. It's just this episode. I'm feeling very emotional. Right? Talking about Howard Finkel.
I was going to go back to it's the Fink, man. It just brings out all the feels.
Well, and Gilbert Godfrey as well, because I get very emotional about.
Oh, let's not forget Yakov Smirnoff. So.
Well, no, I mean, comedic giant, of course. Who I didn't realize was still with us. But I'm glad that he is. I am glad that he is. Wherever you are, whatever casino in Missouri that you're performing at tonight, Yakov, God bless. But thank you all for tuning in. We do so appreciate all the members of the Free Range Idiocy congregation gathering together and reading from the Holy Scriptures of Idiocy. Once again, we do believe in redemption through idiocy, and we are certainly hoping for that for everyone, including ourselves. Because quite honestly, that might be our only chance. Because it's the only thing we got going for us, folks. We are idiots with microphones and access to the internet. God only knows how it all happened, but it did, so here we are.
And we have
thank you for tuning in. Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh, dude, and don't even get me started. Anyways, so thank you all for tuning in. We do so appreciate it. You can find us on all the major streaming platforms. You can also find us at freerangeidiocy.com. Be sure to follow us. Be sure to subscribe wherever you can and get all of our episodes. You don't want to miss a single one because, good Lord, there's plenty of yucks and chuckles and wrestling references and all kinds of other important things that you need for your life. You just don't know it yet. Sort of like me with Hitmonkey. I didn't know I needed it until I saw it, and then I'm like, I gotta have it. That's how you'll feel with this podcast, I guarantee. And if not, you get your money's back. So you can also follow us on the social medias. We are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, we are on Twitter. All of those are at Free Range Idiocy. If you have any questions, thoughts, concerns, you want to send those to Tim at freerangeidiocy.com. And the man they call Tim will get back to you forthwith, if not sooner. And now we finally come to everyone's favorite part of the show except mine. This is when I close my yap and I hand it over to the man sitting next to the man who's sitting next to the man who's sitting next to the man who's sitting next to the man with the limp. I could just carry this on. There, huh? Well, again, the dude has a limp. I mean, it's kind of his distinguishing feature. Otherwise, he's a very bland individual. Anyways, I turn this over to the man they call Tim, and I ask him one very simple question. And it's not what is hip. It's what the hell did we learn this episode?
We have learned the following, my friend. Fantasy football. Uncle Todd notches up a win, baby.
Yeah. Before my team just completely implodes and we sink to the bottom.
The man they call Tim. Winner as well, but suffering a bit of a loss. We'll see what happens. Dune, fantastic flick, check it out, but part 2 is a go, so this is not an incomplete duology that will not be fully finished. It will happen in a couple of years, so check it out. Good stuff, and much, much better version than the prior 1980s version.
Duology. Wasn't that the follow-up to Paula Abdul's Vibeology?
I believe so. Book of Boba Fett. Cannot arrive soon enough.
I need a good cigar after watching that. Oh,
holy moly. Give me more of Book of Boba Fett. It is going to be fantastic. And then the real and the Jabroni, Uncle Todd and the man they call Tim have adjudicated. We have made our selections, and now we're going to take it in. We're going to see what this movie is about and report back. And I'm predicting a man they call Tim victory finally. I will rectify these last 2 losses and find myself.
Rectificate.
I will rectificate and claim victory.
I would like to drink-tificate my winnings from the last Real or Jabroni like 3 months ago.
Well, they will arrive at your destinate if you would just be patient-ate. So
gonna make me haterate to keep this up.
So do check out The Eternals. Looks like a good flick, and Marvel is rarely, if ever, disappointing. So do check it out, and we will come back and tabulate all the results at a future point in time, possibly next episode. With all that being said, as we always like to kind of close things out, and as Uncle Todd has already touched on, we thank you for the downloads. A lot of downloads this week, and very much appreciate it. But as we like to close, be safe, be healthy, be kind, be good to one another. And it's been one of those weeks, and we always need to keep the bourbon budget funded. So please, to save a few pennies and to help Uncle Todd and the man they call Tim out, please, would you hit the lights on the way out?
It's like I picked the wrong week to quit drinking.
Damn! The smell of your corn liquor or brewing is going to drive poor Miss Dryja right out of her mind.
I beg your pardon, what did you say?
What are you doing here?
Well, according to the 2 D cups on your watch, it's dinner time.
You got dinner time money? I'm just joking. You know, your credit's good with me.
You're such a disappointing pair. I prayed so hard for you. Get out. And don't come back until you've redeemed yourselves.
So say we all.
So say we all.
So did I tell you about Patrick's new thing?
Oh dear, what's that?
He's building a raft out of all my seltzer bottles.
Ah, interesting.
And his plan is he's gonna make a raft, and he's going to ride it over Niagara Falls.
Well, he's brand loyal. That much is for certain.
I do give him credit for that. That's about all I give him credit for.
Oh my gosh.
I would be concerned because I mean, here's the thing. Like he's annoying as all get out. But I don't want anyone to get hurt. Like I don't.
I know.
But the one reason I haven't stopped him is because I figure by the time he gets through this thing and he figures out how to get all these glued together, it's going to be frozen anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is, I don't think they're going to let him through the border.
Jeez.
So I think I don't have much to worry about. Now, if he manages to find a waterfall here in the States, I think that we are probably going to be on the search for a new intern very soon. So if you would like to apply to be our intern, feel free to send those to tim@freerangeidiocy.com just in case.
Oh my gosh.
Now get the hell out of here!